All the way down.
For which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent job, dear. Excellent job. All right, Reverend McDowell, would you bless us with a word?
He's not here.
Okay. Well, actually, I guess I was probably supposed to ask the clerk to call the roll.
Mr. Rickerman,
Here.
Mr. McDowell, Mr. Duval,
Present.
Mr. Badura,
Here.
Mr. Vine, here, Mr. Davis,
Here.
Mayor Benjamin.
That's the Mayor Pro Tem Devine. Please give us a word. Thanks.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for this meeting. Thank you for all of the citizens who are here to watch us do the citizens' work. Lord, please bless this meeting, bless all of our deliberations, make them be thoughtful, and make us do everything that uplifts your kingdom and this city. Let us, all of our decisions be pleasing to your sight and pleasing to the citizens. All this in your name we pray. Amen.
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 Thank you, Ms. Devine. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move the previous question. I'm sorry, Mr. Badura.
I'd like to hold number 14, please.
All right.
All right.
Held for discussion?
No, we're holding it until
held?
July.
Okay, all right. So remove 14 from the agenda. Is a motion to approve the agenda with the exception of item 14?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? Move the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Rickerman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell, Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Badura,
Aye.
Mr. Vine, Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye. Any public input related to the agenda items? Madam City Manager?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, at this time, we would ask council to approve the May 7th, 2019 City Council meeting minutes.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, move the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Rickerman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell, Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Badura, Mr. Vine, Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye. Is there a motion to approve consent agenda items 10 through 13 and 15 through 19?
So move.
Is there a
Second.
moved and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Rickerman,
Aye.
Mr. McDowell, Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Badura,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye. All right.
At this time, we would ask council to approve the budget ordinances second reading, number 20, ordinance number 2019-038, to raise the revenue and adopt the budget for the city of Columbia, South Carolina for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2020.
Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Is discussion? Move the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Rickerman,
No.
Mr. McDowell, Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Badura,
Aye.
Mr. Vine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Item 21, ordinance number 2019-039, amending the 1998 Code of Ordinances of the City of Columbia, South Carolina, Chapter 23, Utilities and Engineering, Article 5, Water and Sewer Rates, Section 23-143, Water Service Rates, and Section 23-149, Sewer Service Rates.
Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, move the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Rickerman,
No.
Mr. McDowell, Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Badura,
Nope.
Mr. Vine,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Moving to a period of presentations, item 22 is the recognition of our June 2019 Employee of the Month, Officer Alvy R. Vereen III. At this time, Chief William Skip Holbrook, our Chief of Police, and Corporal William Beatty, Police Corporal, will come forward for the presentation.
Good evening. Thank you, Ms. Wilson.
Good evening, Chief.
Council. I'm very privileged tonight to recognize one of our young, rising police officers. Officer Vereen came to us in 2016. He has recently joined the SWAT team. becomes a full-time member, I think, just in the next couple of weeks. He represents the diversity that we strive for as a police department. He comes to work with a fantastic attitude, very professional, has had some interactions with some of the distinguished members of council before, which ended on a positive note.
Okay.
But
Had a hard time getting him out of the back seat, I guess.
he was very compliant, from what I understand. On a personal note, what I would say about Officer Vereen, and I thank Corporal Beatty for, one, recognizing Officer Vereen and taking the time to put him in for this recognition. It's important that we recognize our officers anytime they do things above and beyond the call of duty. But I think what we see with Officer Vereen is someone that gets it, that understands our philosophy and our mission at the police department and what it means to have a heart of service. One of the things that's particularly impressed me since he's been here is we have a job shadow program where officers can volunteer their time and work on their days off with some of the more senior officers. He's taken an interest in criminal investigations and shows up on his day off frequently to shadow some of the more experienced detectives. He is a very unassuming, quiet leader. He does not lack confidence. He has a swagger about him, which is what we like. He can pull off wearing sunglasses better than most of us. But all joking aside, I congratulate you on this recognition. And Corporal Beatty, again, thank you for recognizing him. He works for Captain Chris Roberts here in the Metro region, and his executive officer, Vandale McCary, and they report to Major Ori. Of course, they're here to support and recognize him as well.
Awesome.
Okay. City Manager.
So, Officer Vereen, if you're with Captain Roberts and clearly part of the A team, I think all of y'all have a swagger in that region, from what I've noticed. In all seriousness, I hope that you, are you married yet? You have a girlfriend? You can share this if you choose to or not. If you have you should share it, I think. But anyway, you be safe with SWAT or investigations or whatever you do. That's always our heart for service for you all. We want you to be safe in what you do. And we thank you for what you do.
I don't know if it's a privilege or not to be caught by a CPD officer, but I was caught right in front of my house. And of course, I had done several things coming home. Wait a minute now. Of course, Sir Vereen pulled me over. I had the necessary paperwork. He was very, very professional. CPD officers, as I said to Chief Holbrook after that, I couldn't remember the name. I just simply said that was a young man who was very thorough.
You should have read your ticket.
Well, he was more gracious than a ticket. And I appreciate that. But you were the epitome of professionalism, and I thank you for that. And I promise that when I see you again, I'll be shaking hands and not pulled on the side of the road. Thank you so much for your service.
I wouldn't have told that story.
I wouldn't drink it.
Don't do that again.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Our next presentation is the Hunger Project. Dr. Tamara L. Burke, Director of the Columbia College Center for Leadership and Social Change.
Good evening. Good evening. Sorry. I was struggling to hear back there, so I thought I'd have to speak up. So I don't think it's the mic. I think it's my hearing. Again, I'm Dr. Burke from Columbia College. This is Lauren Fleming, my boss, and tonight my paparazzi. Did you get a picture? We want to brag on City Council on the Columbia College webpage tomorrow. And we are here tonight to talk to you about the Hunger Project, which essentially means we are here to invite you to a party, but also to help you plan it. And I'll briefly tell you the story. And the story is that one of the programs that I run at Columbia College is the Place Fellows program. And we had some of our Place Fellows do a Feeding Children Everywhere project at Spring Valley Baptist Church. And they fell in love with this nonprofit who create meals, dry, nutritious meals, Exhibit A, for families. They have served 60 million meals in 49 countries. Anyway, we were asked to think about doing this by a representative of the nonprofit, and we thought about it, and we discussed with him, and we said we would do it, but on one condition. The condition is that the food stayed local. We have our own issues of food insecurity that are significant. I'm a proud resident of 29203, work very often with that community. And so, long story short, on August 24th in the gymnasium at Columbia College, we are going to be packaging 30,000 of these meals, and we are currently soliciting support in the form of sponsors, but equally important, people to help us with wisdom on how to distribute these meals to the best of our ability. We've met with Richland One School District and several other folks. And also we are looking for some serious social justice warriors to show up, literally roll up their sleeves and help us package these meals. It's like an assembly line. And so we would love to let you know about it and ask for your support in sharing the word, sharing the idea with any like-minded people. And I invite each and every one of you to come volunteer on that day.
Awesome.
Any questions?
No.
Oh.
Keep doing the great work.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
Lauren.
much for your time.
Tamara, would you mention the date again? So that
Oh, I'm sorry. And oh, I forgot something really important, and that is to thank my very favorite councilman. Sorry, Major Benjamin. My favorite councilman tonight is Sam Davis. So
Good night. You qualified that real quick.
sorry. He's my people. He's my people. So
do you want to share that story with us?
I want to give a shout out to him because he's always supportive. I pick up the phone and I just say, I have an idea for the community, and he's like, okay, what's next? What's next, Tamara? It is August 24th. It's a Saturday. It'll be in the morning on campus at Columbia College. We have given you packets for each one of you, the folder that has Columbia College on the front with detailed information in it. And if any of you would like a sample, we brought samples. We have enough to share with you if that's of use to share with other folks. It is called Red Lentil Jambalaya. And as a Yankee, I figured that would go over well in the South, so I'm hoping that's true. But if any of you would like to help share, including have a product, we'd love to share it with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Looking forward to it.
Good counsel. All right. Thank you.
Our next presentation is an update from Capital City Lake Murray Country. Ms. Miriam Atria, President and CEO of the Capital City Lake Murray Country Regional Tourism Board.
Thank you, City Manager. And Mayor Benjamin and members of City Council, thank you for allowing us to be here this evening and to share with you a few things that we've been up to. Just in the last 10 months, we have featured Columbia and Lake Murray at the Grammy Awards, Thank you, Vicki Davis, our special events coordinator. And at the Country Music Awards. And we were even on the Duck Dynasty tour, going across the United States, telling the story in an editorial and an ad about all this region has to offer. And yesterday, Disney called us. So we're going to set up a special show from Disney at the fireworks next week for on Lake Murray as they debut the new release of Lion King live from Lake Murray. So we are television contacts and spreading your message around the United States, but we continue to see the best results and the best use of our money through travel and TV shows and sharing outdoor experiences and outdoor experience shows to spread our tourism message. Television is continuing for us into August when Eric, the travel guy, will be coming to film our region in August for the television show that he will air across all the PBS national networks. Included in this show will be tours of, he'll be experiencing all of our attractions and special venues, and so he will be trying to tell people how cool it is to visit this area. But inserted into that show will be our normal TV tourism ad. We've just announced Cody Webb, a rising country music star from this region, will be serving as our ambassador for Lake Murray Country as he travels across the United States as a rising country music star. He filmed his John Boat video, his John Boat song on Lake Murray, and had use of Councilman Rickman's lake house to do so. But that's being released in July, and look out because there's a fishing tournament that's going to be created from this video. We continue to spend 50% of our budget on direct marketing. Just in the last year, we had the Big Bass Tour here twice in the fall, 677 fishing folks, and in the last month, over 800. So tonight we wanted to show you, or introduce you to Trip, Meet Trip. You may have seen around town Staycation Week promotion going on, and our numbers are still coming in because Staycation Week is June 21st through June 30th. I tell our staff this is a new baby we have birthed. This year we are crawling, but we have promoted this across a 750-mile radius. We have bookings coming in. Some of the early numbers from the 7 customized vacation packages, the family fun package, and our lake enthusiast package had the most sessions on our website across all of our Facebook, mediums, and touch points. Interesting, the Civil Rights and History package had the longest views on our mobile and desktop websites. They spent over 3.15 minutes on that one package. So tonight we wanted to share with you some examples of our promotion of Staycation Week because we will continue on and next year we'll be running with this. We already have a lot of packages being booked outside that week, and we already have packages that have been booked from outside our region, from Charlotte, from Virginia. So we'd like to share some video promotion right now.
During our staycation, we're going to check out the Children's Museum, zip lining at the zoo, tubing down the river, and a massage for Mom at the hotel spa. Thanks, Trip.
That Trip. Staycations are great ways to get away without the hassle of travel. Ooh, nice.
Welcome to Hotel Trundle.
Check into Staycation Week. Great rates, great packages. Vacay your way.
We partnered with WIS and Palmetto Weekend.
A staycation is a vacation spent in an area not too far from home. Capital City Lake Murray Country invites you to discover your own backyard during Staycation Week. Let's explore local attractions available in the family-friendly vacation package. Enjoy a fun-filled vacation in Columbia, South Carolina and Lake Murray Country. Head to the wild side at Riverbank Zoo and Garden with over 2,000 animals and cool off at Waterfall Junction. This package gives you the option to purchase the Cool Pass, which includes admission to the Riverbank Zoo and Garden, Adventure Children's Museum, and the South Carolina State Museum. There's even more to do as you tour historic sites in downtown Columbia, including the South Carolina State House and grounds. For more information on this staycation package and others, visit palmettoweekend.com. A staycation is a vacation in an area not too far from home. Capital City Lake Murray Country invites you to discover your own backyard during Staycation Week. Let's explore attractions available in the Civil Rights History Tour package. Columbia's Main Street has been a stage for a number of defining moments during the Civil Rights Movement of 1963. Columbia has captured this history and invites you to explore these significant markers by taking a tour through Columbia SC 63. There is also the option to tour all historic sites in downtown Columbia through Historic Columbia. After your tour, enjoy shopping and dining in the Vista in downtown Columbia. For more information on this staycation package and others, visit palmettoweekend.com.
So to sharpen our pencils and make this even more impactful next year, we will be offering playcations for visitors and staycations for locals. We've learned a lot of lessons. We will not have Staycation Week. We will be offering this campaign from spring to through summer. So that will expand our time frame to book the packages. Finally, as said, we've done a lot with television. Our tourism ad has played this year on the following channels: Discovery Channel, American Outdoors, NBC Sports Network, CBS Sports Network, Destination America, Fox Sports North, South, Southwest, and Midwest, Pursuit Channel, Wild TV Canada, the Action Channel, the Outdoor Channel, the Sportsman's Channel. So, also, stay tuned for announcement of a national parade of 40-plus foreign countries in November 2020. Those people will be in our region for 7 days. And we've also lured a very special fishing tournament event that will be aired on CBS Sports in 2020, plus all those 7 days worth of hotel rooms in Columbia. Every day, 7 people in our office are working hard to promote Columbia and Lake Murray, but we could not do it without the city of Columbia. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Miriam. I was wondering why Rita was wearing her hat when she came in here earlier. She was trying to be incognito with her big TV debut, I guess, but. Ma'am.
Ordinance second reading, number 25, ordinance number 2019-033, authorizing the city manager to execute a 12th amendment to purchase agreement between the City of Columbia and Bright Myers 2001 LLC for the sale of 5.97 acres, Capital City Stadium.
I want to move with the following amendment. We're going to amend paragraph 8 of the 12th amendment to the purchase agreement shall be modified to replace the date of January 15th, 2020 to May 1st, 2020. Paragraph 11F of the amendment shall be modified to add the following. Buyer shall pay an additional non-refundable earnest money deposit in the amount of $150,000 to the seller as follows. The sum of $30,000 shall be paid no later than 2 business days following the second reading of this amendment approval. The sum of $30,000 shall be paid not later than 2 business days following the date the buyer receives written confirmation from the South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control that the voluntary cleanup contract for the property has been approved, and the buyer agrees to submit the application for the VCC no later than July 31st, 2019. And the sum of $65,000 shall be paid not later than 2 business days following the third reading approval by Richland County Council of borrower's request for the SSRC. Buyer agrees to submit its request for the SSRC for the August 1st, 2019 meeting of Richland County Council. If Richland County Council does not meet on August 1st, buyer shall submit its request for the SSRC for the September 10th meeting, and then the sum of $25,000 shall be paid not later than December 15th, 2019. Oh, okay, sorry. Correction on number 1, the first $30,000 shall be paid not later than 2 days following second reading approval by City Council of buyer's application for rezoning. And I so move.
Second. Second.
Moved and probably seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Rickman. Aye. Mr. McDowell.
Yes.
Mr. Duval.
Aye.
Mr. Badura.
No.
Mr. Vine.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
I vote aye. With an intense desire to get this done judiciously, collaboratively, and in the spirit of just good cooperation with our staff. Let's make it happen ASAP.
Number 2019-040, amending the 1998 Code of Ordinances of the City of Columbia, South Carolina, Chapter 23, Utilities and Engineering, Article 5, Water and Sewer Rates, Discharge of Septic Tank Waste, and repealing the next section, which is the use of septic tanks where public sewer is
Is there a
available.
motion?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to the previous question. The clerk call the roll.
Mr. Rickman.
Aye.
Mr. McDowell.
Yes.
Mr. Duval.
Aye.
Mr. Badura.
Aye.
Mr. Vine.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Moving into a period of resolutions, resolution number R 2019-055, authorizing the city manager to execute a First Amendment to purchase and sale agreement between the City of Columbia and HRT Realty LLC, and any documents necessary to consummate the purchase of 1601 Assembly Street.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, move to the previous question. The clerk call the roll.
Mr. Rickman. Aye. Mr. McDowell.
Yes.
Mr. Duval.
Aye.
Mr. Badura.
No.
Mr. Vine.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Item 28, resolution number R 2019-056, ratifying and authorizing the city manager to execute a First Amendment to purchase and sale of real property between the City of Columbia and Columbia Venture LLC, and any documents necessary to consummate the purchase of approximately 199.65 acres along Symmetry Lane, Beltline Boulevard, and Bluff Road.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to the previous question. Clerk call the roll.
Mr. Rickman. Aye. Mr. McDowell.
Yes.
Mr. Duval.
Aye.
Mr. Badura.
Aye.
Mr. Vine.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Moving into a period of appointments, Ms. Jenkins will come forward to assist. We have the Food Policy Committee, Citizens Advisory Committee for Community Development, and the Commercial Revolving Loan Fund Committee.
Ashley?
Yes, so the last time we deferred it, and there were only actually 4 applications for food policy, and we've received 2 additional applications for it, and you'll see that updated on on the back of your first page.
Okay.
We're still only looking to fill 4 if you also choose to, and I know the last meeting it was discussed whether or not you wanted to keep food policy the same size, because you all are interested in potentially reducing the amount of members. I know that was mentioned.
And what's the rationale behind reducing the amount of members?
It was just mentioned because there may be too many people. It was, I forgot who mentioned it. It was a few meetings ago.
Ashley,
Yes, sir.
the applications in our notebook, these are the additional ones, is that right?
Yeah, there are 2 additional from what you've had before, or there should be actually 1 additional, because last time there was 5, now there's 6. We re-advertised for it, and we're actually re-advertising for it again for food policy currently.
Okay. So we have 6 applicants for 4 slots or 5 slots?
For 4 slots.
4 slots, okay. All right. Got some good folks. It looks like this is one of the few boards we actually have representation in every district for a change, and as well as outside city limits. 2, 5, 3 from outside.
And we've made a change on all the memos, as discussed by Councilwoman Devon, so that you now see whether they live or work inside or outside, or whether it's outside of city limits, so on and so forth.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll be happy to offer up some. Are there any dual office holding issues with the director of the comment? We find him serving on the voluntary committee. I think he should be. All right,
Sir?
Mr. Ando. I'm looking at the right one, right?
Food policy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
All right. I worked with Richard Chesley many years ago in his role at DHEC, and he'd be a fantastic subject matter expert in some of the issues the committee discusses. Obviously, Ms. Brown is a Nephron, a good corporate citizen. Do you guys have any suggestions? If not, then I'll be happy to make some motions. All right. So I move the nominations of Richard Chesley, John Ando, and Victoria Brown to the Food Policy Committee. We'll have a thought on the fourth. And
Ms. Draft?
and the nomination of Ms. Draft.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Second.
So move, Mr. Chair.
All right. Any discussion? Move the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Rickman. Aye. Mr. McDowell.
Yes.
Mr. Duval.
Aye.
Mr. Badura.
Aye.
Ms. Devine.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
So you received an updated Citizens Advisory. Really, the only change was that in between when it was deferred the last meeting and today, an additional application came in, and that was Miss Parthenia Luke. And she's listed as well as her information in her application.
She's very impressive. I met with her, PhD student at the university.
And a grad student and an adjunct professor.
Yeah, very impressive. I move her nomination.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, move the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Rickman.
Aye.
Mr. McDowell.
Yes.
Mr. Duval.
Aye.
Mr. Badura.
Aye.
Ms. Devine.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Oh, Commercial Revolving Loan Fund. Hold on a second.
Is that the reappoint? We've got all the folks who are eligible for, or who are seeking reappointment are eligible, correct?
Yes, they are, and it's listed, Ms. Bishop, Mr. Snell, Ms. Rushing, and Ms. Abraham. All would be their second terms.
I move we seek reappointment from Mr. Bishop, Mr. Snell, Ms. Rushing, and Ms. Abraham.
You also need an additional appointment for attorney. So far, there's been one application, and it's listed.
Mr. Appoint Jonathan Riddle. Second to that? There's only one application, but he is an attorney.
And that's and that's actually a board requirement that we're seeking to fulfill.
One moment.
Unless y'all know, I don't know. Seek someone else.
We could always,
The district.
District 2, for actually his home and work. Mr. Riddle, Jonathan Riddle, who applied for the attorney position.
Let's do the reappointments. We'll take up the new appointment.
I was
next
going to
meeting.
ask that.
Unless
I'll
Mr.
withdraw my motion. Let's do the reappointments.
Okay.
Mr. Rickman's motion, and I forget who seconded it. Second. Any discussion? Move the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Rickman.
Aye.
Mr. McDowell.
Yes.
Mr. Duval.
Aye.
Mr. Badura.
Aye.
Ms. Devine.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jenkins.
Thank you, Ashley.
Mr. Mayor, we do have one additional item that is coming under the consideration of matters discussed during the work session, but do you want to take up the Accommodations and Hospitality Tax Committee recommendations first?
Sure. Why don't you take up your work session item first?
Okay, so this item is the Rosewood traffic calming measures proposal that our staff has worked on, the Honorable Mo Badura.
Thank you, Teresa. I know the Rosewood Neighborhood Council has been looking at this study or the speed humps or traffic calming devices for a while now. I think they started 2013 and they didn't get the rest of the neighborhood to, I guess, concede or agree, and now we came back with a different map, and I believe there's a couple of neighborhood presidents that if they wish to make a comment, please come on forward and do so, and after you'll finish, maybe we'll take an action. And I welcome any other council members' feedback or comments on that if you like. I know we talked about it in work session today, but we're here to listen.
Thank you, Mayor Benjamin. Council members, Mr. McDowell, Mr. Badura, Mr. Davis, Ms. Devine, Mr. Duval, and Mr. Rickerman. I appreciate your time. These measures are desperately needed in Rosewood. We are an up-and-coming area, which, mind you, we've been there for many years as a part of Columbia, but they're needed. Accidents have happened repeatedly at certain locations. Some of the streets are actually speed, it's like a NASCAR track going on. It can be during the day, it could be at night. People are running stop signs, but we actually need stop signs in certain areas. Rosewood is a very eclectic group. We have people that have been there many years, they've raised their families. We've got the USC students that are coming in. We've got the Jim Hamilton Airport that utilizes many of the streets in Rosewood to get to many of the places they want to be in Columbia. We ask for your help in going on ahead and passing the resolutions or the proposed streets, speed humps, stop signs to be able to make our citizens safe that are in Rosewood. I ask that you please go on ahead and pass this. We do have the DOT on board, and we can actually go on ahead and start having safer streets if this would be passed. And I ask that you do this for Rosewood and for the city of Columbia as a whole.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right.
Yeah.
Is that action item?
One more, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, sir.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I just wanted to say that I bought my house on South Bonham about 3 years ago. I thought it was a cute neighborhood.
Am I speaking up a little bit?
Can you hear me better?
Yeah, I'm going to make sure they can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Better.
Okay.
Much better.
Yeah, it's a beautiful street, South Bonham Road, oak-lined street, cute houses, in the area. And that's why I bought the house, because it just looked like a nice, quiet, eclectic neighborhood. But after I purchased a home 3 years ago, I found out pretty quickly that it was not a quiet street. And the cars that would drive down that street would drive so fast that you could feel the wind coming off of the cars. And I think it was last week, there was a T-bone collision. And these aren't just fender benders that are happening on the road. These are high-impact collisions, I think the previous one that happened, the woman had to be taken off in an ambulance. So I just wanted to let you know that ever since I moved there, Dave Brewer with the city engineering department, I've gotten to know him by first name because I immediately knew that it was a problem that needed to be fixed, and I appreciate you guys hearing it. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve this proposed traffic, possible speed hump location at the Rosewood neighborhood area.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none? I'm sorry.
I just want to add for the record that Mike Miller did send an email on behalf of the neighborhood. It's been discussed and widely supported, so just wanted to add that for the record as well.
right. With the previous question, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Rickerman?
God bless you, sir.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mr. Badura?
Aye.
Mr. Vine?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin?
Aye.
One more comment, if I may, just to clear the process and how is this moving forward. My understanding is, since we passed this proposed map, the staff will take it to DOT to get the actual permit to install the speed humps and the four-way stop signs at the proper locations. Once that we receive that permit from DOT, we can move forward and install all the traffic deciders. Correct? Thank you. Just want to clear that to the record.
Thank you, sir. And at this time, council will take up the accommodations. Sorry, my mic wasn't working for a minute. Accommodations and Hospitality Tax Committee recommendations for fiscal year 2019-2020. Ms. Dee Dee Fanning will assist.
Good evening. Our A-Tax and H-Tax committees met this year for funding recommendations to council for the 2019-2020 year as given to you in the spreadsheets and asking for your approval on those.
All right, I have a motion. Give me a second.
Can we start with the accommodation first? It'll be easy.
Accommodation and age.
All right. We really want to thank the committee for the incredible work again this year. A relatively new committee, but still with the sage advice of some of our senior members. And how much, John, you're emeritus, so what are you? I don't know what you officially are. But John continues to add value. And Terry, your great leadership. This is my recommendation. I've consulted with council, and this is what I propose we do in the form of a motion. We accept the committee's recommendations with the current exceptions, with leave, of course, to go back and make additional changes as we deem appropriate. That we do not fund the Gamecock Club. We read that I think they had a banner year and significant resources. They ought to be able to fund traffic issues around football games in their budget. I'm also proposing that we do a 1% across the board cut to the committee recommendations and to the line item organizations. It's not a lot of money. If you can do it with $50,000, you can do it with $49,500. That will allow us to free up some funding that will be disposed of and appropriated in the following way: an additional $30,000 to the recommendation of the committee towards the City of Women project, Historic Columbia, an additional $18,000 to the International Festival, an additional $10,000 to the Auntie Karen Foundation, an additional $13,000 to Hip Hop Family Day. Yes, additional, all in addition. That is the motion. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. Discussion. Minor changes, all meritorious projects, and consistent with the comments of the committee as if there are more resources to go around. No one ever likes monkeying with the messing with the committee recommendations, but I think in total we're simpatico. Great job as usual, Ms. Devine.
Just want to say yes. I usually say I don't like to mess with the committee's recommendations, but as acknowledged earlier, I think they do a yeoman's job with a lot. I think that we've been able to at least try and look at some of the organizations. I do want to just say again, I said in the work session that staff and I will be meeting with the organizers of Black Expo. I'm fully supportive of their new direction with economic empowerment, and particularly with my interest in closing the wealth gap and addressing economic prosperity, particularly in minority communities. I really feel like we need to, they're not going to be able to do that with the $10,000 allocated by the committee. But I do think in working with staff, we maybe can look at some things, but I just want to put it on the record that I may be coming forward after we meet with staff with some additional requests, because I know that their requests over the years has continued to get cut, but they do, if they're going to put on an event, they can't do it with 10,000. So I just want to put that on the record.
Thank you, Ms. Devine. Any other feedback? Seeing none, with the previous question, the clerk call the roll.
Mr. Rickman?
Aye.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mr. Badura?
Aye.
Ms. Devine?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin?
Aye.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Accommodation tax.
Mayor Benjamin.
Do you need to approve the accommodation tax?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the accommodation tax spreadsheet that was presented at the council.
Discussion? Seeing none, move the previous question, the clerk call the roll.
Mr. Rickman? Aye. Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mr. Badura?
Aye.
Ms. Devine?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin?
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin, while I certainly agree with the comments regarding the Gamecock Club and the funding there, we'll want to make sure that our officers are taken care of
absolutely.
without any type of
Absolutely,
discussion. I
and
mean,
we need to.
Should be well enough funding to do that without the.
No, absolutely, and we need to insist that the Gamecock Club pay for it. Yeah. Okay.
And let me also make a comment, if as the mayor said, we appreciate the comments that you made on the spreadsheet for every line, whatever the status of that applicants or that organization. So that gives us a little bit of feedback into what you guys talked about, what kind of feedback or how you made up with a lot of those decisions. So thank you for the heads up and the feedback that you've given us. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. No other citizens have signed up to speak. And I'll entertain a non-debatable motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
I'm sorry, Mr. Rickman.
We had a lengthy Public Safety Committee meeting today and had report from the fire chief, the police chief. We talked a lot about what helps us flows in our needs, obviously for the future, but also the number of service calls and how it's important to have these entities all equally invested in our basic services. We also discussed speed hump installation policy, and I'm going to submit to the clerk this sheet we received today and ask that council, that we have this put on our next agenda to adopt. It's a criteria because we're having more and more neighborhoods looking for ways to slow down traffic. I think the biggest point in here is under item 3, which basically says that, based on the locations, the neighborhood is responsible for obtaining occurrence of 75% of the residents on each affected block and 100% of the properties fronting proposed traffic calming devices. I think one of the challenges we've had as decisions have been made, some people have bought and sold, or other people weren't sure, and suddenly they got a sign in their front yard that says speed hump being located here. So we want to make sure that everyone is fully engaged in the process as we continue to move forward. We are looking at other traffic calming opportunities. That could be bump outs, that could be four-way stops. A lot of it is tricky. As you know, in the city, the majority of the streets are DOT streets, and then there's a portion of streets that are city and county owned. So we'll be bringing this up in our July meeting to adopt, so we have a published process so everybody can equally follow. We discussed speed cameras in school zones. We're going to do a test in a school zone with a speed camera, which will be a permanent item, which would allow us to achieve speed calming in another way. It would be a civil defense when you got your little black and white in the mail, not a criminal. And then we have foregone for the next meeting the siren technology because you weren't there today, Mr. Dura. I know you had a conflict, just so that you could kind of tell us what your thoughts were. We discussed a little bit, but weren't sure where you were headed. And then we receive proposed amendments to noise ordinance that we are working on so that it gives us the ability to actually enforce the noise ordinance. We have some tweaks to be done by legal and look to have that the second meeting in July. So the second meeting, so that'll be online after the 4th, and you'll be able to see that. That was our busy morning.
Sounds like it.
Good deal. It does sound like a very busy committee meeting. Any other reports from committee or referrals to committee? Is there a motion to adjourn? I think there's one pending already. I think we've moved and seconded, haven't we? All right. With the previous question, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Rickman?
Aye.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mr. Badura?
Aye.
Mr. Vine?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin?
He's an
Aye.
aye.